Welcome to From Data to Victory.
Welcome back to From Data to Victory with political strategist Fairalee Carrier, founder of the Republican Political Consulting LLC, serving campaigns across Massachusetts and Texas. Fairalee helps candidates understand what campaigns actually demand beyond what's visible from the outside. I'm Leanne Lyon, and today we're talking about fundraising realities, why it surprises so many candidates, and how it shapes campaigns in ways people rarely anticipate. Fairly, why does fundraising end up being one of the biggest surprises for candidates once a campaign is underway?
So, hi, thanks for having me back. This is a wonderful topic, and at Republican Political Consulting, we have a lot of experience, good experience with fundraising, and we are able to help our candidates and our incumbents running for reelection obtain the dollars that they need to proceed. We have a proven track record of that, and we really do hope that you contact us if this is a specific area that you're struggling with. And most campaigns do struggle with this issue. So to answer your question and why it becomes one of the biggest surprises for candidates is that, simply put, fundraising is not just a task, it is a lifestyle. Most candidates are not used to asking other people for money. Most people in general just aren't used to asking people for money. So if you don't have a plan for it, if you don't realize that it has to become part of your lifestyle within the campaign, and if you get elected, that it needs to just become a part of your DNA, this is the skill that we help teach candidates and incumbents. And we help them make it so seamless and as a part of their DNA and their personality that it becomes second nature. So we do a lot of work with our candidates in this area to take away the anxiety of feeling like I'm asking for money, or you should just think I'm great and then assume people will donate to your campaign. The problem is that candidates often think that fundraising is a phase of the campaign, like phase one, file your paperwork, launch your campaign, start getting volunteers. Phase two, build your team, decide your leadership, etc. Phase three, start getting endorsements, or, every campaign is different, so it may not be linear in that regard. I'm only using those phases as an example. But in reality, fundraising is a constant pressure that runs alongside everything else in a campaign. And it's a very personal exercise that most people do not anticipate when they run for office, because our money is probably one of the most personal things to all of us. And with modern politics, myself included as a strategist and a consultant, the reason this podcast is called Data to Victory is because I am a data nerd. I am a data analysis. And one of the hugest data points is tracking how people spend their money. It can be very predictive of voter behavior, voter sentiment, and most importantly, what is important to your voter constituents, the people that have to vote for you to win. So you first have to get comfortable with the tactic of fundraising, get over the anxiety about it, make it a lifestyle, and then recognize that it is a personal thing that you need to adopt not only in your life, but instill into your whole team, so that everyone feels the same way about fundraising and you don't accidentally have somebody going out there who does not want to ask people for money and then missing out on huge fundraising opportunities.
How does the time and emotional energy required for fundraising affect decision making inside a campaign?
So, timing is very important, because many candidates believe that support will just automatically appear once they announce their candidacy or once they announce they're running for reelection. Especially my incumbent clients who are already elected, there's some complacency there where they believe I don't have to launch these huge campaign, initiatives, because I'm in the job. I'm elected. I'm doing well. they should just give me money when I send out an email or a text saying I need money because I have a primary challenger. Send me money so that I can remain your representative. But this is not how fundraising works, and it is not the most successful approach to fundraising. Some candidates assume that with a strong message that that's going to immediately translate into dollars and fundraising quickly. This is also an incorrect assumption and an incorrect approach to fundraising. If you have a strong message, which you absolutely need to run a campaign and win, you cannot assume that that strong message is going to translate into dollars. There are many more steps that you have to do before, during, and after your messaging and how it's delivered. However, fundraising is built through repetition, follow up, relationships, and announcements. Because many candidates have lots of people that want to support them. Everyone has a different economic folio, what they can donate, what they cannot donate, and you may be very popular. Voters may really like you and they really may want to vote for you. But if you're not repetitively following up with constituents and people who show up to your events and sign the little form that they were there and start building relationships with your future voters or your current voters, in addition to making public announcements about fundraising, people will just forget. They'll just, especially if you're a popular candidate, they'll just assume, oh, well, I don't have to donate because look how popular he or she is. He's going to get money. He or she will have everything they need to win. And that is absolutely false. So that is a very important question, and I'm glad that you asked it.
So, what happens when fundraising becomes the primary focus and starts actually crowding out other parts of the campaign?
Simply put, the campaign risks losing balance. That you end up having an imbalance in your campaign because, like I said earlier, not only does fundraising have to become a part of your DNA and you have to become comfortable doing it, you also have to do it simultaneously with everything else. So if your primary focus is fundraising, you're going to lose out on opportunities to promote your messaging. You're going to lose out on opportunities to um, maybe attend events that you as a candidate may not believe will generate the money that you need or want, or you don't think it's, quote, worth your time to do this event because maybe that audience is a low income audience. Well, um, that is that is an example of losing balance. So the other thing that happens when fundraising becomes a primary purpose is that your field work, your grassroots work slows down. And then your message discipline weakens. And then your voter contact becomes inconsistent. So then when this happens, you're already going downhill toward losing once this happens. Because then the campaign begins to feel like a financial operation instead of a persuasive operation.
How does early fundraising success or the lack of it influence the momentum, the confidence, and the internal morale of the campaign?
So, we here at Republican Political Consulting, we view money, or we treat money as a scoreboard, just like we would treat our maps for grassroots and door knocking. We have a huge map. We have a plotted chart of how volunteers are going to knock doors and engage voters. We also have a separate scoreboard for money. So early success does create confidence and it attracts support and it signals viability to the state campaign or to the state party and even on the national level. However, slow fundraising can create panic, and when the campaign has real strengths, that panic will override the strength and not allow you as the candidate or your workers to really focus on the strengths. Um, you have to remember that momentum is psychological, and fundraising heavily shapes that momentum and your psychology about it.
So, why do candidates often underestimate how personal fundraising feels, even in professional settings?
Mainly because you're asking people to invest in you. So think of yourself as being on Shark Tank, and you've got this great product, and you want Mark Cuban and all those other guys, Kevin Leary, to give you, a lot of money so that your business and your product can grow. And then you have a certain valuation for how much you think your business is worth. Of course, on the show Shark Tank, there's always, disagreements about that. Much of that is for entertainment, but conceptually, it's the same as what we're doing here for fundraising in a political campaign. When you're out there as a candidate and your volunteers are out there as a candidate, you're asking people to take out their checkbooks, their cash, their Venmo, their Cash App, their um, all these other platforms. You're asking them to invest in you as a person. You're not asking that. So the idea is not to be abstract and not to be party general as a candidate. Like, I'm a Republican candidate. I believe in family values. I believe in the right to life. I believe in a strong military. I believe in I believe in fiscal responsibility. And those are all like party narratives, at least on the Republican side. And those are abstract narratives that many candidates and campaigns struggle to translate into being able to simply ask people to invest in you, because most people that are already on your side on the of the aisle politically, you don't have to waste your time with that, because they wouldn't be at your event likely if they weren't a Republican. So your job as a candidate is to translate that a fundraising donation is an investment in you that is going to pay off, because if you're elected, you're going to be able to represent the values of your voters, and you're going to be able to take back what your voters want to DC or to the city council or the town council, and you're going to be their voice. This is America. We are a representative democracy. We're not a majority rule democracy. So we vote for our representatives to do exactly that, represent us. So that is the investment that we make as voters in our politicians. So if you can communicate it in a way that's like that, then it's easier for people to be willing to donate to you. So the final thing is that candidates can also feel vulnerable when they're first time candidates about asking people to invest in them. And that's why we here at Republican Political Consulting, we provide a very extensive service to our clients by putting them in various simulations for the sole purpose of fundraising. So we simulate a private fundraiser with high donor attendees, high value donor attendees. We simulate events where your audience might be lower income voters and all persons across the economic spectrum and socio and cultural spectrum, racial spectrum. If you're filming a radio stint versus a television interview versus creating video content for social media, we simulate everything with our candidates, so that way that vulnerability is decreased, that anxiety is decreased, and the confidence builds, so that the candidate, him or herself, can feel that when I'm asking you for money, I'm worth it. And they can carry themselves in a way with that confidence that does not come across arrogant or entitled. And that is what we work with our candidates a lot on.
So, as we wrap up here, how does fundraising pressure change as election day gets closer, especially in competitive races?
Short answer, it intensifies. Actually, when election day gets closer, you should already be at or very close to your fundraising goals, because most candidates start with a primary race and then they go into the general election. We try to focus more heavily on fundraising during primaries, because once a candidate wins the primary, then they become ripe for the state party and the national party to pay attention to you and start investing in you as a candidate. So that money that you're going to need from winning your primary up until the general election in November, is going to come easier because now you're going to have funding and support from, say, the Republican National Convention, or you're in Massachusetts GOP, or in Texas, the Texas GOP. Those funds are going to come in. And the reason why is because those bigger organizations want to know that you've basically proven yourself. They want to know that, okay, if we start giving you hundreds of thousands of dollars, connecting you with super PACs, etc., that you're a viable candidate. So this is why it does intensify, but at the primary level. But deadlines do matter more, and costs do rise. And as an opponent will surge, your costs may rise because the demand for you as a candidate is going to increase. So your travel expenses are going to be more expensive. Having to pay campaign staff might become more of an expense. So fundraising can intensify even after the primary, but especially before the primary. So every decision becomes more urgent, and because time can no longer be recovered the closer that you get to election day.
Well, that was a really fascinating conversation. And that's it for today's episode, From Data to Victory with Fairalee Carrier. Fundraising shapes campaigns in ways most people don't see, and understanding that reality is critical for anyone considering a run for office. To learn more about Fairalee's work with candidates across Massachusetts and Texas, visit fairalee.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to subscribe, share, and leave a review if you found this episode helpful. Thank you, Fairalee.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.